Find the art of caramel making. Slow crafted, all natural, and preservative free with uncompromising standards. Cooked gently in small batches to create velvety textures and layers of flavor like no other caramel you've ever experienced. It is our sincere hope that you enjoy each Seuss caramel as much as we enjoy making it for you. I'm Tammy Fahey, and I never tire of hearing how much people enjoy my caramels. Please visit SeussCaramel.com to place your order and to see a listing of stores that carry our amazing caramels.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Herman.
Hello, and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I am your host, Lois Herman, and I'm here to inspire you with positive messages as we celebrate everyday people who are making a difference in our world. When we focus our thoughts and energies on what we love to do, we create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness, from kindness to healthy habits and simple happiness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you are inspired by today's show. And today, this show is dedicated to light workers and light warriors around our planet. We are living in a time of uncertainty and transition. Do we really know what is true? There are so many inconsistencies in belief floating around, being shared by media, and now being distributed by what we call friends on social media. It's disappointing how many people are argumentative, judgmental, and dismissive without being truly in the know, without having all of the information. Regardless of political bias, if we're honest with ourselves, we must admit that we really don't know what is the real truth. People are passionate about their position. Some are vocal, harsh, and crass, while others stand quietly observant in their knowing, watching those who feel compelled to express themselves in effusive public displays without realizing the silent ones are watching. Watching those who feel compelled to express negative energy. They put others down with their judgments and opinions. It's becoming more clear who they are each day. There is such a divide in our nation, very much like a civil war. Family against family, friend against friend. Many people hold the same thoughts about those on the other side of the equation. Yet, the dark side feels compelled to public outbursts, while the other side tends to be more mindful and respectful. We're being shown everyone's true colors, which are quite revealing, and it can be very uncomfortable to watch. It would be fair if everyone was being fed the same information, yet that's not what's happening. The public does not have ready access to private intel that's being censored. Those who are not driven to dive deeper to look at what is beneath the surface are coming from a place of limited and programmed information. When you only see the cup from one side, you do not see the handle on the other side. Without seeing the whole picture, you make erroneous judgments that are based on limited or misguided info. It's interesting that those who are doing the name-calling are seen by the observers as coming from the low-level energy of anger, hate, blame, and shame. Those with elevated consciousness who have taken the time to see beyond and are coming from a higher energy vibration are acutely aware of those who are being abusive. In the long run, when all information is presented clearly for all those to see, my hope is that reparations will be made. However, the flashlight has already been pointed at those who are reluctant to look beyond. Once injustice has been shown, revealed, it will be difficult to build the bridge of trust again. Right now, we must trust ourselves by calling on our wise guides and angelic helpers through this time of discord, sadness, and acute awareness of wrongdoing. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 and 95.3 FM. There is so much more going on here that meets the eye. Those of us on an awakened spiritual path can see the battle of good and evil playing out before our very eyes. The deception and dishonesty that our guides spoke of, that starts at the controlling head and mouth of our society, is now becoming obvious in and amongst the hearts of family and friends. Whether from innocence, ignorance, or indifference, those who have been misguided are showing their true colors, and they are not pretty. The negative energy being spewed by those who are name-calling is more evident now than ever. Notice that those of light, truth, and peace always come from a place of integrity. They simply ask questions and point out obvious inconsistencies, yet are being belittled, bullied, and demeaned by hurtful comments from those in the dark. The goddess Aurora in the Chronicles reminds us of the passage that Jesus shared, "Turn the other cheek." In my own experience with abusers, this does not mean offer the other cheek to allow them to continue to inflict harm. We must turn the other cheek and walk away. We must protect ourselves from those who are spewing the darkness of hate, anger, and shame, and lift ourselves up from fear to peace. We must turn our backs and walk away. Protect yourself. You are a sovereign being. No matter who they are, never allow someone to continue to hurt you physically, mentally, or emotionally. That old story that sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you, is false. Words can harm deeply and over a much longer period of time. Mostly nasty words show the true intent, the real persona of the person who enjoys sharing unkind words about others. Go ahead, unfriend, unfollow, and distance yourselves from those who enjoy making fun of others, those who are divisive and dismissive with their negative energy. Hold fast to the light of truth in your heart. Use discernment as you limit your exposure to those who hold the negative narrative, and trust with all your heart that you will be guided to gather with others of like mind to a brighter, more uplifted energy. Believe in your mind and know in your heart that the light of truth will shine on the darkness. Remember, the light of truth, integrity, and honesty always wins in the long run. This battle of good and evil, light and dark, that is playing out has to be shown to the whole world. Those who can see beyond the illusion know that this time of exposure is the beginning of increased awareness, also known as the Great Awakening for some. Those with eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to feel will know. Others will fall. Many will be confused. There are many twists and turns to come. The collective tells us to continue to honor those with integrity. Those who choose deception will be exposed. Those who censor to control the masses to their way of thinking will be held accountable. What is most disappointing is that so many people refuse to look beyond their personal bias, to honor that there may be another story that is being hidden from view. Like the doubting Thomas, they insist on being shown what can only be seen by those with eyes to see. It's important to hold a higher consciousness for yourselves and for humanity. Jesus tells us that the meek shall indeed inherit the earth. He says that is still the intended outcome. Do you really think those who are spreading such venom can call themselves meek? Those who are coming from the light of truth are our present day meek. Even though they have been forced to speak loudly about actions that bring peace, because their deeds have gone untold, unnoticed, and censored. These are the meek who will ultimately create a new civilization of peace, enlightenment, and empowerment. Those who choose to celebrate others with positive energy will contribute to this evolution of peace. We must also understand that negative energy affects our lives, our thoughts, and our health. The best way to protect yourself from the negative is to raise your vibrational energy from the level of fear to peace. Do something that gives you joy, and surround yourself with people who hold the same uplifting frequency vibration. Avoid toxic people. The guides of the collective gave us amazing information about the draining energies and how they affect us in the Chronicles of Hope book series. You can purchase the books on Amazon or at the website chroniclesofhope.net. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 or 95.3 FM. For this time, slow down with me, take a breath, and a moment of time for yourself. Take a slow, gentle breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth, as if blowing through a straw. This allows your body to oxygenate and relax. Calm your busy mind by thinking about things that give you joy and hope. Think of a time in your life when you were so happy, a specific joy-filled memory. Really take a moment and get into that feeling, into that knowing. Think of how it made you feel and where you feel it in your body. Take a moment and remember. Travel back in time. Remember. Notice how uplifted you feel and more relaxed that you are. Think of some things you're grateful for. Think about the people in your life who bring you joy. It's echoing. Something sounds funny. Okay, that's all right. We're going to continue. Think of trusted friends who are truly there for you and amplify this joy in your heart. Express gratitude by saying thank you to the amazing guides who are always here to assist you on your journey. You simply have to ask, and they will be there for you. They are never far away. My guest today is a celebration of all things good and uplifting. Living off the cuff means holding the energy of positivity for everyone she encounters. Instead of interacting with others from the low-level energy of conflict, she embodies the energy of positive encounters. An improv comedian and director of Tribe in the Sky, Jacqueline Kabat exudes the energy of honoring others in the amazing work she is called to do. Jacqueline, are you there with us this morning?
I am.
Yay, hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you? You're calling in from California, right?
It's early. I've got bedhead.
Well, it's a good thing then we can't see you, but we can hear your wonderful voice.
Oh, it's great to hear from you. I'm so honored to be on your show.
Oh, I'm so honored to have you. And we need you right now more than ever. There is so much frustration out there, and you bring joy everywhere you go.
Well, that's how we survive, right?
Yes, it is. So tell us about yourself. Tell us who is Jacqueline Kabat? Did I say that right? Kabat?
You said it. It's
Okay.
Kabat. You said it right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Wow. When I I did stand-up comedy for years, and I would always start my set like, "What makes you sort of special and unique?" And I'd be like, "Hey, I'm a Jew from the South." So I grew up on the East Coast in the South and went to University of Georgia, total Southern girl. Then I moved to New York for about 20 years, and I ended up there because I got involved in comedy. At first theater, and then I moved into comedy, and specifically comedy improv. I really found I was in the flow with that and believed in really the higher message of that. Improv is exactly what we need right now, the rules and tools to improv, because we are definitely living in something unscripted. So I was in New York for years and years, performing stand-up comedy, performing improv comedy. And then I started teaching improv, and I ventured off into a few different directions. I would teach it in the corporate world, did a lot of team building workshops. I always hated the word team building, but that's ultimately what it was. And then I got into the human potential world and started teaching at places like the Deepak Chopra Center, the Omega Institute, the Esalen Institute. And what I loved about teaching improv, it's really kind of like building tribes. Because when you're doing unscripted performance with a group of people, you become incredibly vulnerable. The rules and tools to improv really are all about service, all about lifting people up, all about compassion, all about appreciation. And I just found a lot of truth in that. So ultimately, it was the comedy that got me out here to California. I'm sort of a cliche. I was moving from New York to LA to get into comedy writing in the TV world. I stopped and visited the one person I knew in Monterey, California. This was 6 years ago, to decompress before I went to LA, and I basically never left.
So you're right there on the beach in Monterey, right?
Yeah, I live in the forest over the sea.
Wow.
And it's a special community here. Definitely a vortex and a portal for sure. And I found, opposed going down the comedy improv or comedy writing route in LA, I found myself getting very much into music here. And I became a promoter. There was quite a bit of talent. And I just had this ability to help build the music scene a little bit. And I always had this feeling that music and comedy were ultimately the same thing. And people who do it are able to harmonize a room. They both, comedy and music, allow you to move energy, connect without judgment. And I just found a home here and able to orchestrate that and use my light. Music was where I was always able to receive, where comedy I was able to give. And I took what always was a healing tool for me, and I was able to expand on it here.
And it's interesting that it's almost the perfect trifecta. Music, which lifts the soul, lifts the spirit, comedy, which makes us laugh, and then you do a lot of things out in nature, too, which also is where we get grounded. So it's all of those things that I'm constantly encouraging people when they're starting to fear and feel down or stressed to listen to something that's uplifting, be it music, watch a funny show, or get out in nature. So that's basically what you are bringing to people.
Exactly. And I love that. You really hit the nail on the head, because I've always said comedy, music, and nature ultimately offer the same thing. They allow us to put some order and to create order out of chaos.
And to get out of our mundane life that or the stuckness of things that we are being shown or things that people say that can cause us to feel down or sad. If we can escape from that illusion, because it's truly an illusion, into an uplifted illusion, we can shift our vibrational frequency, and it's easy and natural, and it's wonderful.
It's the word that I try to say, the easy and natural, it's palatable healing.
Ooh, yes.
Palatable. And I've been thinking, I think and write about this all the time, but really with the music and comedy too, they both bring us back to the breath.
Yes. Because laughter, and a couple of weeks ago I had on someone who does laughter yoga, and we were laughing, and that causes you to take in a different kind of breath when you laugh. You're breathing all the way into your belly, right?
A deep laugh. Same with singing, and then when you're doing it with a group, it's really group meditation.
Yes. Yeah.
We are all in that presence frequency, breathing, anchoring it in, and as we all know, when we do it as a group, it's got quite a power to it.
Yes, and then you were talking about you have your tribe in the sky, and I tell you what, there is such a value to having a tribe of kindred spirits. It just, that's what we need right now on this planet, is to surround ourselves with a tribe of people who do see things, who do get us, who celebrate us and uplift us, which is what you have developed out there in Monterey.
Being part of a tribe, it's really not even a luxury. It's a necessity for survival now. And I just hope everyone really, really gets that on a deep level. And if those who don't feel part of it, there are tribes out there. And as far as how we came to be our tribe in the sky in Monterey, was a group of us started meeting on the roof of a hotel in Monterey. 3 years ago on Tuesday night, started doing acoustic music. And that's why we're called Tribe in the Sky. Because we started off on a roof. And, we always say we were surprised we lasted that long there. Ultimately, I guess you could say we got kicked out, but we were gently asked to leave just because, And then we went to another hotel on the bay here in Monterey for about 9 months, and we were just doing music out there until we could. And we ended up over the next few years just moving to different locations, a group of local musicians, visionaries, a lot of people in the philanthropic sector in different ways, shapes, or forms. And it was just it became really a practice to some degree, where we would meet weekly, create music, talk, and just be real. And it really was a group of people that was above the divide, because people came in with different political beliefs, all different things. But in that moment in time, we were just all heart connected, and that other stuff slipped away. And knowing that we had that once a week really was, it was truly life-saving for a lot of people, myself included. And because we have a bit of a social media presence, what we're finding now is that because we created that, and we really did it using the main rules of improv, is we picked people, we went to a location, and the tools of improv are all about service. So we really encourage, in this time in the world, create your own. And I always say, if you invite 8 interesting people over to your home, have a fire pit, cast it yourself, people who know how to have conversations, it's just that easy. We're in a time where we write our own narrative. Produce your own show. Produce your own tribe right now, because it's pretty easy, and it's really necessary.
It is. So many people, especially in this time of isolation, people feel alone and lost and lonely. However, we can form tribes via Zoom, where we're seeing it. Yes, we're not touching people physically, but we touch people with our hearts, our words, our eyes, our presence, and we can still form that. Those of us who are across the world. The other nice thing about Zoom is it doesn't have to be a local tribe. We can be a tribe of connected people. That's how I met you, is through a tribe. You know?
I know.
Yeah.
I always tell my people, I love my East Coast weekly hangs with you guys.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting because you were talking about where you got the name Tribe in the Sky. You couldn't very well do that back east, in the snow up there on a rooftop.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was interesting. What drew me to meet at this particular hotel in Monterey on the roof was having lived in New York for so many years. And, thank God it's on an island, but you can definitely get caught up in that matrix down there. And those parties and those gatherings that were on rooftops, it was really interesting because you notice you really extracted from the movement down there and really become the observer, and there's a peace in it. And then when you're with other people in the city who make that choice that evening, that day, to go to the roof, there is a group understanding and a group presence when you're sort of extracted from that world together. And so I screamed to everyone, "Get to the rooftop!"
So you're saying that you actually started doing some of this rooftop work while you were in New York?
Well, when I was in that way, just my going back and really feeling what those experiences were like, just in a social matter, when you would be on a roof of a building looking at Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the meditations with the globe in your hand. You become the observer, which is the key to the castle right now as we sort of flow above the divide.
Absolutely. Being the observer and observe.
Mm-hmm.
And it is interesting. This is what I was saying earlier. Being the observer, you can see the people who are stuck in that negative energy. And I just look at them and go, no, thank you.
No,
I want to maintain my up energy. And they're coming out of the woodwork, and it's shocking. And then I just say, okay, that's who they are. That's where they are.
And that's where they are.
That's right.
I have this, let's use my new favorite word, palpable.
Yes.
Empathy, and my heart goes out to people who haven't done the shadow work right now.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us who are called to do the work that we do right now have obviously been deep in it at some point,
right.
And came out of it just to a degree enough that we can have conversations like this right now. And being able to hold the space for those people who are seeing and feeling a darkness that was unfamiliar to them, my heart goes out to them right now. How scary that must be.
It is scary, and my challenge right now, I go back to a message in the book of discernment from Archangel Samael, who says, be cautious of allowing people like that to steal your energy. So we can give our hearts, we can send energy, but not allowing them to take our energy down. So we have to be able to, as we surround ourselves with a tribe of like-minded people, of people who have a similar thought, then we can collectively stand in our power and send energy to those who have not awoken just yet. Some people have their heads so stuck in the sand they don't want to awaken, and that's their choice. That is where they're at, and God love them and bless them and let them be where they are. Others who are in that conflicted confusion where they're at least asking questions, that is the bridge. Those people,
that's the bridge.
Yes, those are the people that, yes, I'm happy to help, but they have to do their own work. Like you said, we have gone into the shadow. We've done our work. And it's not about feed me. It's about I can help you if you want to feed yourself.
Absolutely. And recognizing those lost souls who, Lori Ladd talks about it a lot, just really understanding there are people who are just on different realities, and that is fine. Look at that with just no judgment, but there really are those lost souls, and they're ready.
And some are not.
Ready.
And those that are ready, yay, that is so wonderful. Yeah.
The lost souls, right. And as you were talking about, like, I was reading in your book about, I think it was the interview with Jesus, and I really appreciated this part. You know, I love you. I say, I love you, love you, love you. I get that. I will continue to say it. But there's something about having just the real compassion. And one thing I've been saying a lot to some people that I know who are lost is the line, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I feel like people just, once they hear that, their heart melts just a little bit.
Right. And that's one of the things that he said. Jesus said, speak the compliment out loud. And even people who have brought pain to us, we can say, I appreciate that you have caused me to think about something a different way. However, the other thing is turn the other cheek. Do not allow them to continue to abuse you or drain you or pull your energy down. You can honor them. And especially right now, with so much negative energy, we need to protect ourselves. I really teach the protective bubble and the sacred space that's in the book, because we must keep our energy strong. There's so much dark and negative, and it's really, really insidious. So we've got to do things like what you're doing. And I want to just let the listeners know that you are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 and 95.3 FM. We're here every Sunday morning, and today, every Sunday morning, we celebrate a different person. And today we're celebrating Jacqueline Kabat from Monterey, California, who is an improv comedian. And Jacqueline, can you tell us more about being an improv comedian? I was so intrigued by what you said the rules were and what that really means.
I always say comedy improv. Really, improv, it just really can save the world. And the rules are so simple. And I feel like a lot of people have an association with comedy that is often at people's expense. And in stand-up, that absolutely can be the case. I just don't think people want to go to a stand-up show to feel worse about themselves. So I like the positive side of it. And where improv as a craft is very different than stand-up. So there really are 4 basic rules. If I'm teaching a class, and let's say I get a few people on stage, there are 4 rules. If you and can I do an exercise with you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me tell you the rules very quickly, and then we'll move into that.
Okay.
The idea of agreement, when 2 people are on stage, yes and. Those are going to be your best friend words. Yes and. The idea is moving a scene, moving a conversation forward. When you negate or question, you put it all on your partner, and it doesn't move forward. So that's number 1. Number 2 is make your partner look good. So, get on stage and say something funny. We get that that's hard. So if you sort of are in that frame of make your partner look good, then it keeps you in the present moment, because in improv, we're not creating a scene about what will be or what was. It's in the present moment, the only thing that's real. So my job, say, Louis, you and I are on stage, my job is to make you look good. If you're a dentist in our scene, you're the best dentist ever, or you have the prettiest scarf ever. Whatever it is, my job is to make you look good. The good news is your job is to make me look good. So that will put me at ease. So improv, make your partner look good really comes down to service, which what it's all about to begin with. Service is love made visible. So I love rule number 2. Rule number 3, commit. Commit to the scene. There's no props in improv. If you create a fake bar, commit to it. Don't walk through it and freaks the audience out. Just commit to everything that you create on stage. And number 4 is just have fun. Very simple rules. And with this yes and world that we create on stage, because it will be guaranteed to move forward, it's a place you can make big choices because it will be accepted. And I feel like sometimes people have the wrong idea. Well, if it's such a lovey-dovey craft and this and that, how can it not be edgy? You can make, it really can. You make big choices, and the comedy will take care of itself. So being on stage in improv with other people, much like being in a band, you're in a collective conscious. We call it the group mind. If everyone's where they should be in that moment, there's a high degree of presence on there. And that includes the audience, whether I'm teaching a class or it's in a show. I've noticed very rarely do people who are not on stage in a class or in the audience of the show check their phones. It's one of the only places they don't while people are on stage doing improv. They're invested in it too. So just by the presence on stage brings more light into the room, the classroom, or the theater, wherever, where the room just collectively raises vibration.
Wonderful.
It's like watching Tai Chi can chill you out. The same thing. It's just it's pretty beautiful. And I really started teaching because when I was living in New York, I needed extra money, and I was like, oh, I'll just start teaching improv. I've been doing it for years and years, and I very specifically was going for people, was looking for students who did not have a theater or a comedy background. Really, ones who had quote unquote real jobs, because I needed to get paid, and I knew none of my starving artist friends would be able to do that. But what I ended up seeing as a teacher, watching people who haven't really played since they were kids, I just saw like their energy, their eyes started glowing, like they hadn't played for most of their adult life, and giving the opportunity to play energetically, what I saw in front of my eyes was just this rapid shift. It was incredible.
And that is so important. I encourage people to do that all the time, to play. And I take people back in time to something that they used to enjoy doing as a child. What did they used to love to play at? Because you're right. We get so caught up in life that we forget what it's like to play. It's
really the key. Play and have fun. Well, we've sort of been trained not to unlearn that. And I feel one of my purposes is to bring people into that remembrance.
So for the listeners, it dawned on me that one of my favorite shows that was about improv comedy was Whose Line Is It Anyway? Is that right? And with the four gentlemen that would get up, and three or four, and sometimes it was a woman. They had different people, but they would do these funny skits. Oh my gosh, that was one of the most side-splitting shows. And I didn't know the rules, but you're right. The rule was always to make the other person look good.
Make the other person look good.
Yeah.
And with improv, it's like your humanness. The audience wants to see that too. And you see it even the level of those guys on that show. There'll be moments where they kind of break and giggle.
Yes.
And the audience loves it. It makes them real. It makes them relatable. So you've got some wiggle room. You don't want to be losing it the whole time. But it really... It's, like I said, improv can save the world.
Yeah, and you said it's an unscripted performance, so it's spontaneous, which I love. And that's usually more challenging for me because I tend to be an analytical type of a person, more of a planner. So this will be very interesting.
Well, it's like, you obviously are such a connector, and just by the work that you do, that you're living improvisationally. And, right now, already knowing you operate with the affirmative, you're of service, you obviously commit, and you're very interested in having fun.
Yes.
So you're on the right track, my friend.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So do you want to do just a quick little exercise?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. See, you agreed, so you're on the right track. All right. We'll just do it very, just one little exercise. So the words I was telling you, yes and. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, and the secret to comedy is don't try to be funny. You don't have to try to be funny. It'll take care of itself. And this exercise I'm going to do right now is even less about the humor, but more about the energy around it. So I'm going to say a sentence, and the first thing you're going to say is yes and then just add a sentence onto it.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be funny. So just make sure, just yes and add a sentence. Okay. All right. It's so great to be on the phone, and I love your work, Lois. It's so great to be on the phone and chatting with you this morning. So you go, yes and.
Yes, and it's great to be chatting with you from California because I'm not there, but I can be there virtually with you.
Yes, and I love that you say that with you in New Hampshire. I mean, you on the East Coast, me on the West Coast. I know that one day, we're going to be able to visit each other in each other's coasts.
Yes, and I look forward to the time when I'll be able to be with you and your friends on the beach. I've seen the videos that you post of the bonfires, the musicians, and all the laughter, and energetically, I want to be there.
Yes, and we would love to have you here. You are an open-minded, wholehearted, beautiful woman, and you're just our type.
Yeah, yes, yes, and I feel like your type. Even just watching the things that you do, it really engages me, and I thank you for the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. So you did great with that. We didn't even add in the second thing, which is like make your partner look good. So in addition to yes anding, we really were of service to each other in our dialogue.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to say the same sentence, but instead of saying yes and, we're going to negate each other and go no, but. No, but. All right, Lois, it's so great talking to you this morning and hearing about your work and sharing. And then go no, but.
That's harder to do. No, but I can't believe that you got up this morning. That's early because it's 6 o'clock your time.
Yeah. No, but I would have been up anyway. The cat had just spilled water on me about half hour earlier over my.
No, but my husband, I want to call him my husband's cat, gets him up by smacking him in the face in the morning. That's what cats do.
No, but those cats, So really, we don't even have to go further with that. But you see, it's harder to flow.
Yeah.
Just negating has more of a negative vibe. And so just like the affirmation up there just keeps things flowing. So you did very well. If you were on stage, I'd be like, class, give Lois a hand for being the first person to go up there.
Well, what's interesting from an NLP perspective, and that's I'm a master instructor for NLP, neurolinguistic programming. No and but are stop words. I have removed them from my vocabulary, or I really attempt to remove them. So when you gave me that exercise, and my mind went to, no, but I can't do that because it goes against my philosophy. So I had to really stretch the yes and I already do, and I teach to my clients when they give themselves those negative thoughts, shift it to yes and. That is so funny that's what you incorporate into the improv.
First most important rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes and. Good job.
Yes and. Yes and. Well, I've noticed too, just especially during this shelter in place, all this, is that storytelling, how that is it's so key right now as far as, I don't know really what I'm getting from online and the TV, but if I go outside and sit around the fire with someone and hear their story and we share stories, it's really the best entertainment out there.
Yeah. Yes. And
yes,
I'm finding it more comfortable for me to share my stories because of being on the radio, and I'm on multiple different podcasts and radio shows and different opportunities to share my story. So I'm getting more comfortable at sharing my story. And you're right, it's always fascinating to hear other people's stories because you never know what really has happened to another person.
You don't really know. And giving to someone is so vulnerable to share and so open and honest. I really encourage storytelling. With some of the music things we're doing right now, things have shifted a little in this new world. I actually am learning the guitar. I decided, you know what, if I've been booking all these acoustic guitarists in this whole world, maybe it's time I actually learn it.
Oh, good for you.
And it's really more for me. I want to have I want a new hobby, but I want to be able to sit alone and write music and have that experience just more for myself. And I just feel that, like, going back to the music and comedy and the nature, just those three can bring you back in, ground you. It's faster and in such an easy, pleasant way. So I just think it's fascinating that those were the three things that you mentioned earlier, because they are absolutely there to anchor us in.
And people need to know that and embrace it. And how do people get a hold of you? I've mentioned your Facebook page, and how can people connect with you? Even though we, on the East Coast, it's a little hard to get out on the beach. I'm sure we can if we go up to,
Oh, yeah.
But how can people find you and follow you?
Sure. Social media on Facebook is, you're welcome to follow me on my page, Jacqueline Kabat. There's also a page called Tribe in the Sky, and it's ultimately what we're creating. It's going to be an internet TV show, which is just the clips of things that we're doing, interesting artists in the area, things going around here, music, deep thoughts, what you want to call it. So feel free to go to the Tribe in the Sky page on Facebook. And I'm happy to get emails as well. And my email is pretty simple, Jacqueline Kabat, and I'll spell it JACQUELINE KAB as in boy AT 221 @gmail.com.
And Jacqueline, what do you recommend to others to stay upbeat and positive? Are there any specifics, you who work with musicians and comedians, others who are homebound, what can they do to keep themselves uplifted in this time?
Like we were talking about earlier, I think there are a couple things. Definitely connecting with the tribe on a I would say at least on a weekly basis, and have that in your structure and your routine, because I think half the medicine of being with the tribe is half the medicine of tribe is knowing you have one to go to.
Exactly.
I found for me what's been very interesting, and since this has happened, and with my boyfriend as well, I call this time the great sifter. And I have gotten, the sisterhood around me has gotten even tighter, and it's always been good, but it's even tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And same with my boyfriend, who is just now surrounded. I always say he's just like up leveled with the men that he's surrounded himself with. So I think that really keeping that tribe tight, getting into nature, the music and the comedy, and just that self-love that I think a lot of us healers are serving it up for others and ignoring ourselves. And I'm sure you've done that at some point in your life. I know I have.
Mm-hmm.
And just really taking that I have a cat. Shocker. I love my cat. And I was like, you know what? If I treat myself like I treat my cat, I'll be fine.
Is that not the truth?
I know.
I often say that in my next life, I want to be my cat.
Oh, my God.
Because
He's
they
like,
are so spoiled.
Oh, my God. They're so Buddha. And I say, like, cats have it right. It's like, I want to sleep 16 hours a day and then kick ass for 8. Like, sign me up.
That's right. That's right.
But I think it's the words that it's interesting when we talk about like affirmations, but one that I've had for years and years and years was I am comfy cozy. I just love comfy cozy.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived a lot of my life not feeling comfy cozy. And it just was sort of a funny little phrase, but over the years I just kept saying it, like, I am comfy cozy, I am comfy cozy, I am comfy cozy. And somehow in different boat, same storm, but in this moment in time I am very grateful. I am so comfy cozy.
I agree with you.
I'm comfy cozy in myself. I'm comfy cozy with my peers. I'm comfy cozy even with what's happening in the world, because I feel I've been preparing for this. And I feel our brand of medicine, our brand of delivery, and the way we get it out is relatable. People can hear us if it's delivered in a way that doesn't feel forced.
Absolutely. Yes. People, and then they are invited. Instead of being forced, they're invited. If they don't choose it, that's on them. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's radical. Tribe in the Sky, it was always about being radically inclusive.
Exactly.
And without even knowing it, we just been rehearsing, not even just the music, just because we've collectively been meeting so frequently over the last few years that we've already been playing around with each other's frequency, like even just getting together at a fire at our home. The improv rules are already in our bones. We know how to affirm or of service, we commit, and we are definitely there to have fun. So I feel a lot of people who do the type of work we do are really seeing it's like, wow, we've really been rehearsing for this more than we even really knew.
Well, you know, those are almost perfect rules to live by in any relationship. In any relationship, you know, yes, and celebrate the other people, make them look good, be committed, and have fun. I think those are brilliant. It's a recipe for success in all relationships.
And let's talk about self-talk, you know, taking care of ourselves. It starts with that. If you have conversations with yourself using those rules.
Right. So I wanted to ask you, Jacqueline, you said that you've actually had a chance to start reading the Chronicles. What do you think?
I'm really enjoying it. I really am. the one that you mentioned, Samuel?
Samael, yes.
Samael. That was the one I really appreciated that, because you do have certain people, it's the concept of tough love.
Mm-hmm.
Was that sort of getting from that? And there are all different types of teachers. And in my process of waking up, I did get it from some people that I had hoped that in that time wish it could have been a little gentler,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the way I needed it. And I just thought of all the people that I've read so far, I just love all the spirits, called soul, not spirit. Everyone has their own flavor, but the underlying message is so congruent.
Exactly. And, Jesus's message was of compassion and kindness. And yet, when he was delivering his messages to the group, he didn't pander to certain people. He said it like it was. I mean, he turned over the money changers. He had an energy about him that shared what he was passionate about. And this is what Samael comes through and says, be discerning. Choose for yourself. Do not follow the masses. Listen in your heart and you will know. Be discerning. And he just holds you accountable. Hold your feet to the fire. Don't just be led. You've got to look deeper. And I love that, because I've always been one that wants to, I've always loved mysteries and I've loved investigation. And so it kind of gave me permission to explore deeper thoughts, what's beneath the meaning. Yeah.
And just understanding that intensity turns up before transformation is, I felt that from there. And another thing was a Jesus interview and something that you had written, that in that particular thing, his emotions were more attached to it than you'd seen before. The sadness and when there were mistakes, the game didn't go as planned, and the sadness around that.
Well, one of the things that I recognize now, even since I've written the book, because I have more of an actual one-on-one connection with these guides. I hear them, see them, experience them in a very real way. Their energy is, when they are in that ethereal world, when they are in the in-between, in the spirit world, their energy is pure love. They know nothing else. That is all. They just exude love. When he had to lower his energy in order to come into the physical body through Gary, all of a sudden he is feeling the pain of humanness. So we all go through, we as humans, one of the joys of being here on this planet as a human is to feel the joy, the sun, the splashing of the water, the friendships, but we also feel the pain, the sadness. And when he had to lower his vibrational frequency down into the level of Gary, and Gary had a higher frequency than the average person. But when Jesus lowered it, all of a sudden he felt the sadness. And he felt, where have my words gone? Why are people not treating each other with kindness? Where did I go wrong? It was very heart-wrenching.
Yeah, that's what I picked up from. I was feeling that.
Yes, yeah. And it got to that. I now understand what was going on. At the time, I just wanted to cry for him. And now I realize that it's about vibrational frequency. And this is part of it. It was a perfect example of what we need to do to keep our energy uplifted in spite of the illusion of what's going on around us. We have tools, we have friends, we have people who can keep us uplifted. And as we keep ourselves uplifted, then we can see what's going on from that tribe in the sky, observer mode, from the roof. We're able to look down and be the observer and see these children who just don't get it yet.
They just don't get it.
No.
Right. And it's not our job to force it down their throats, because that doesn't raise the vibration for anyone.
Is it time to end? Oh, my goodness. This has been fabulous, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. We are coming to a close today, and I thank everyone for being here. I thank you. Send us some sunshine from California. And
you got it. Thank you, Lois, for having me.
You. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, till next week, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. God bless.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
As America waits for the presidential election to be certified, mainstream media and Joe Biden have claimed victory.
Those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now, let's give each other a chance.
A few from the thousands of protesters at the Capitol in Atlanta, Georgia, tell Fox News their position.
They shouldn't be calling this election.